action.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
Hello and welcome to Humans of Van Life. Today I'm sitting here with Matt and Wilson in his van.
We're in Vanna White. My name's Matt Alexander. This is Wilson Flynn of Enjoy the Journey today, and we're excited to host the lovely Nikki for a little podcast episode.
Yoo-hoo! We got a little beer here. I'm gonna crank that open.
Let's
1,
start.
2, 3. Oh, love that sound.
Ooh.
Cheers, my friend.
Best way to get it started.
That is good.
So where are we?
We are just out of Basalt, up a really bumpy, epic road.
Staring at a 14,000-foot mountain
Which
out our window.
We are doing together.
Are we doing this one?
No,
Okay,
but we're
gonna do a 14er. It's been on my bucket list for a long time, so I definitely have to make it happen. Not this one though, right?
No, not
And the
this
one
one.
you did last week was
Massive.
10 to 11 hours. You said
10 hours and 45 minutes. Yeah.
that seems a little rough. Find an easier one for us.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. But we are gonna get up there together. It's gonna
Yes.
be epic.
I'm down. I'm acclimated to the elevation. I'm ready to rock.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll probably
Let's do it.
run up there like a little go. So, what exactly is this place called that we're at? Do you know? Is it just...
So we are on National Forest land, I believe, at a couple of different trailheads. I'm pretty sure you can actually hike this 14er from where we're at. But the best part of this area is we just got done with the Van Life Diaries Basalt Gathering. Johnny, Jared, and Kathleen especially did an amazing job, and we're all having a little 2.0 gathering. Many times, a lot of us don't want to leave after the end of the weekend, so it's awesome to be able to continue the journey together. So we probably got about 20 rigs outside right now, parked out together, and we get to do cool, fun stuff like this.
Yeah, I find it so cute how we all, like, after a weekend of so much bonding and, like, profound experiences, like, through music and just stories, that we literally feel like we can't leave each other.
Yeah.
We just, like, latch on, and the relationships get deeper and deeper and deeper, which never ceases to amaze me, because just as Johnny had said that night at open mic, he said we're really just scratching the surface of who we are. And I had chatted with him after. I was like, whoa, like, if that's true, which I actually do feel as if it is true, holy shit, are we lucky. Like, if this is just scratching the surface,
Yeah.
then,
true.
like, wow, do we ever have a lot more amazing stuff to uncover.
Well, and just think about that from a standpoint of the experiences you had before you were out in this community, and what, at least I'll just give you my examples, what I experienced, because for me, it never really got below surface level. With a lot of people, a lot of interactions were, hey, how's work going? Oh man, rough, you know. It's like, you gotta say it works hard. I'm slaying away, I'm sacrificing in order to get that same satisfaction from your other friend who goes, oh, I'm also miserable in my job and my path, but we're miserable together. So we're gonna talk about how shitty our life is, or how it's another day, another dollar, and we're gonna move on. And I just am sick of that mentality, that lifestyle, and it's so refreshing to get into a community that's totally different. Totally different.
No, I completely agree, and that's the whole saying that misery loves company. And also, like, I'm at a place in my life where I'm very careful who I surround myself around.
Yeah.
Because I now really know my worth and want to show up as my best self, and that involves being around people that continue to support me in my growth, and I support them. And I'm just not interested in that mundane shit.
Yeah.
Like, and, like, it's actually crazy you say that, because I haven't heard a conversation like that since I've been on the road, like, full-time, which has been almost 3 months.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that once.
At all.
Like, how are you? Fucking not very good. Like, this bill, like, which is so interesting.
No one ever, yeah.
It's
no one's ever
it's
talking
been
about
like,
that.
oh, did you do that today? It was amazing. And how was that breath workshop for you? And, like, so
It's a
amazing.
different way of living. You know, I think that you talk to people and they're like, oh, what are you doing next week? And I'm like, well, what are you doing this week? Like, the week's not, we don't live for our weekends anymore. And that mentality of, hey, I want to get the most out of every day, and I truly live with that excitement, makes all these experiences not stack on top of each other so that we've got a million experiences of us going to the same work office, to the same coffee shop, to the same exact place every time, meeting the same people, running into the same people. To me, that doesn't make sense. And we need to get out of our routine in order to run into new people so that we can be developed and grow as individuals by learning new perspectives.
Absolutely. Let's do a little backup here.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how long you have been living in a van.
Sure.
And how you got into it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you want a little bit of a backstory of before the van at all? Or?
Yeah, I do, actually, because as much as we've known each other, we have so much more to learn about each other. So
of course.
I'd love to know.
I'm originally from Mickeytown, USA, Orlando, Florida. And after college, I went to school for construction engineering and went into a field that I'd kind of known I was going to go into, but didn't fully understand the work-life balance and the user experience of that job. And what that means is that when I graduated from college, this job that I thought was going to be a great outdoor experience with a lot of hands-on opportunities turned into living in the middle of nowhere, Texas, working 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, and being outside just putting out fires all day long because the stress and the level of intensity of the job was something that I didn't realize. It's not something that I couldn't do. I stayed at it, finished the project that I was on, but I had to look at myself and say, okay, is this what life is about? I was 35 pounds overweight. I didn't work out at all. I had no sex life, no love life, no anything other than my job. My job was the only thing that I was putting time, effort, and was good at. And I saw myself sacrificing way too much. And for what? Like, to be successful in the eyes of your friends and family. That is what a lot of us are doing. And so after I did that job, and then I moved into sales, selling insurance to construction firms. I saw a whole nother side of business with sales and quotas and your ass is on the line. It was one of the logos of the company I worked for, so it was a line with 2 bumps and it was your ass is on the line. Isn't that amazing? So I was definitely, open to the corporate lifestyle until I realized what the lifestyle was like. And I found out quickly that the environment, the people, like you just said, we said earlier, the people you surround yourself with at a job, you don't get to control. You don't get to choose. And so you're around a lot of these stressful situations with people you don't want to be around that aren't influencing you and helping you become a better person, don't care at all about your better well-being. And so that was the light bulb for me. Was I realized that I had to create my lifestyle and what I wanted and learn how to build the other pieces around it instead of saying I'm just going after the career and the job and I'll figure out all the rest later. And that's just reprioritizing things that matter. You know, I went from working every hour of the day to working part-time. So that I could have time for meditation, so that I could have time for yoga, so that I could have time for hiking 14ers, so that I could have time for hang out with you and travel with these other awesome van lifers. I mean, that's the thing, time. My dad wants to go on a trip, and most opportunities when I worked corporate world, I couldn't do it. But if I can get an opportunity to spend time with my father, who I don't know how long I'm going to have him on this earth, I'm going to take that opportunity. And those are the kind of experiences that constantly happen that, yes, I don't get as much money because I make those decisions, because I don't work as much, but guess what? I'm living more. I'm out more. I'm enjoying my journey, which is my motto. It's what I'm all about. And so that was really when Enjoy the Journey got started. It was when I quit the corporate world. I jumped on a one-way ticket to Dublin and spent 90 days backpacking through Europe on the no plan. So no plans more than 3 days in advance.
Whoa.
Complete opportunity to change and meet people and shift and pivot your plans. I stayed with somebody that I met along the way a third of my trip. So 30 out of my 90 days, I randomly met someone, or a friend of a friend connected me with someone that I was able to stay with. And so that kind of experience was what made me realize that I had to change my lifestyle, because that was something, the excitement, the passion of every day, the I don't know this city or this place, I don't know any of these people, I'm never going to see them again, so I'm going to go up to the table and I'm going to ask these other travelers if I can sit and have lunch with them, and I'm going to end up having an amazing conversation, and one of them's going to have a local friend who's going to invite me over to a pool party on Saturday. Like, these are all experiences that happened and allowed me to really live a life of passion and a life of excitement. And that was when I was like, okay, how can I figure out a way to continue to travel and continue to meet people and continue to have these new experiences and this excitement in a more formal setting where I can do it long term. And that was what van life was for me. Van life was backpacking on steroids. It's the ability to take and not have to worry about finding a place to stay and cut your overhead to next to nothing, see the country. I've been to places by plane, but I've never really driven the topography of the country, and that is a cool experience.
Voila.
Yes, as you can see.
As we're pointing to a map of all the places that you've been.
For sure. And, this is the last 2 years, the last 75,000
So now you've been in the van
miles.
for 2 years.
2
since
years.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, 2 years in the van. This is the route for the past 2 years, which has been 33 states, 32 national parks, and 75,000 miles on Vanna. Yeah, she's got 305,000 on her now. 75 of which I.
So where did you buy her then?
I bought her in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
On Craigslist from an
Yes.
Hungarian guy that owned a moving company. He bought it as his first vehicle, and he grew his industry, or grew his business. Excuse me. So he didn't need the small Sprinter, and he sold it to me for $8,600.
Whoa.
I put a new turbo in it, so it ended up costing about 10 grand total out the door. And with that plus the renovation, it cost just under 20 grand all in. And that was 3 months of working with another friend of mine, Sil, who I met through a mutual friend, had a shed and the equipment, and so I moved in with him and just learned as much as I could. I didn't know shit when we started. I definitely did a lot of YouTubing and a lot of looking at other people's vans and figuring it out, but with he and I definitely recommend one other person on a build, just to have to hold stuff, to think about stuff, to bounce ideas off of. It's just so much easier to have an extra person. But he and I spent the summer of 2014 building out the 2017.
Okay, I was like, that was fun.
14 was the backpacking trip.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
17, yes. 17 summer was when we built the van, and then I took off in August. And so we're coming up on 2 years here.
Oh my god, your birthday month.
Yeah.
Dude, I bought my birthday month too.
Oh, you did?
I'm going on 3 years this August.
Ah.
What's your date if you're...
Well, I actually bought it in December, but we took off July 28th, I think. So like the beginning of August is when we took off. So I could basically just say August.
Yeah, totally.
But
Cool.
it was it was crazy. Actually, I have a good story. So my first night, my first day in the van, I'm leaving the driveway to go to Cocoa Beach for a music show to meet up with a bunch of friends. And I've got the van, we got it all done. We're pulling out of the driveway, and the guy I built the van with is like, "What the fuck is that?" He's just like staring at me, and I'm like, "What?" And he goes into the van, he comes out with half of the serpentine belt.
No.
And we're like, what is going on? So we go find a store, change the belt out, put the belt on, turn the engine on, it turns on, it's running. We're like, okay, great, no worries. About 15 seconds into it, belt strips again. So we look at the pulleys, and it turns out one of the pulleys had cracked completely. When its second one stripped, it hit a bunch of coolant lines. So now antifreeze is spraying all over the engine and all over the van. And my girlfriend at the time looks over at me like, we're never making it to this show. Like, much less are we going to get out of here. But my buddy and I were able to find a 24-hour discount auto parts, fix the whole thing up. We didn't make it out that night. We ended up staying. But we got the van fixed, and honestly, if I would have left and had to deal with that problem in the middle of nowhere, because the interstate we were getting on was like no gas, no services, 60 miles. So I am very happy that happened there, and I luckily, knock on wood, haven't had a ton of issues with the van. You know, some spark, or not spark plugs, but the diesel equivalent is a glow plug. Changed out some glow plugs, changed out a couple sensors, and keep the oil changed. And she's been great to me.
That's it in 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Sprinter life.
Yeah, totally. VW life. Everybody knows what I'm talking about who hasn't. What was, like, did you, like, find van life on Instagram? Or, like, why did you realize that van life was your ticket to reach all those things that you had while traveling?
You know, I have to give credit
Curious.
to my ex-girlfriend because she originally brought it to my attention. She had a friend that was doing it. That's how she knew about it. So
cool.
she was like, yeah, my friend's, out there living van life. And I'm like, what is all that, And so once I started looking into it, then it was like, oh, this is the ticket to backpacking, on the road full time without having to find a place to stay, backpacking on steroids. And I was like, well, I really do want to do this. She really wanted to do it, so we went in on it together. Now, this is something that's great to share with our audience because I wouldn't recommend going into a rig with somebody. I think it is not necessarily the best decision. To get a more detailed description of all of this, Lisa from Vacay Vans and I have done a podcast about all of this and all of our tips and tricks to learn from our mistakes, because you can definitely get into some arguments just like you would with a marriage, a divorce. And I feel like I got divorced and had to figure out the house and the kids between Wilson and the car. So
how long were you guys together before?
2 years.
Right.
Yeah. So I definitely think that there's, it's one of those things where I knew I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I wanted to figure out how to make it work. We went out on the road for about 6 months, and she was working from a restaurant in Colorado. So it ended up being one of those things where it wasn't van life. It was living in a van in Denver, in the city.
Oh, wow.
And it was being in a city every day, having to go to work every day. And
that's not what you signed up for.
No. And it's one car, one house. So, if she's got to go to the gym to get a shower and get ready, then I need to do that. And then she's got to get work, and then she's got to get picked up at 1 a.m. And so there's just a lot of things that go into that. So it was just one of those learning experiences, I think I'm more apt to meet somebody that has their own van instead of trying to convince someone to come with you.
That's actually, I really relate with that.
Yeah. I am all about it. So solo female van travelers continue to feel comfortable and come out on the road. Oh, yeah, eventually come see me. But I just want more van female single travelers. I mean, we're seeing it happen.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? I'm actually interested.
Totally. It's a great question. Do you mean
like when I started, it was couples and dudes, period. Now I'm seeing a lot of solo female travelers, and I think it is because of a lot of our friends that have put out videos that are talking about solo female traveling, are answering the questions and concerns. People like you that are doing podcasts, really showing the lifestyle. It's making it more understandable, and people are getting an idea of what it really is. And so I'm just interested in, are you seeing that? Do you feel as a female that you're seeing more people, or do you have a lot of people that are like, you're crazy?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I guess I would actually say in a way I'm a bit privileged to answer this question. And what I mean by that is I'm an only child. Also, I was raised by a community, and so I've done everything from a very young age by myself.
Yeah.
I've done so much traveling by myself. I remember when I was 19, I bought my first. I finished my first year of university or something, and then I took off on the road for 25 days in my little Subaru.
Yes.
Hatchback thing.
Yes.
I set this bed, and that felt epic at the time. That felt crazy. 19 years old, I had no idea where I was going. I just took off around BC and Alberta.
Yeah.
And I at that point got a lot of are you nuts? A lot of this whole women are inferior, women are always people are predatory against women, that whole vibe. But I honestly would say that that's changed. I don't feel as if women are coming from a less empowered state anymore, because in my belief that's where that language comes from. You don't see a solo man going, you're not as worried as you are for them as you are for women.
Yeah.
But then I would question why.
Yeah.
Because of the way we've been marinated in this idea that women are weaker, women and I don't believe in that. And most almost everybody I have been lucky enough to surround myself around doesn't either. So I think that, like, women are really stepping up to their power and then their most empowered self, and then therefore choosing these lives. So there's no longer this victim story.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean by that? It's a bit hard to articulate.
No, I agree. I just, I have a different perspective not being a female, so it's hard for me to give feedback on it because I'm not in that situation, and the only difference is really, like, if I'm put in a bad situation, I might be able to fight myself off a little bit more. That's the only thing I can think of. But other than that, it's like, it's exactly the same. I don't know that, like, I could be put in a really tough situation too by someone. So I don't know.
And I'll also challenge that, and, like, this might be, I don't know how other people feel about this, but, like, I know my power as a woman. And I would say, if anything, like, I'm more blessed on the road than most males. Like, I have had nothing. I mean nothing but fucking abundance of people supporting me in my journey. Wow. And a lot of males, like, hey, you want a shower? Awesome, come over. And, like, not even in a sexual way, but just, like, they want to support me. And, like, if I need something help with my vehicle, like, where they see you, they're probably like, good luck, buddy, fix it yourself. Me, I've got 6 cars pulled over, and they're like, how can I support you? Like, do you have the tools, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, that's the other side of it.
Which is kind of cool. Like, I would love to chat more about this, like, male and female different in van life.
I definitely think that that's true. Like, there's 2 sides of that. There's the, oh, you can't be alone, or you shouldn't be, like, you're not able to be by yourself and be independent. And then there's that, oh, screw him, and oh, I'll help her, she's, needs it, or whatever they feel. So yeah, I definitely think there's a double standard on both ends, but it's just good to see more people, especially females, feeling comfortable enough to go out and do what they want to do, right?
Absolutely.
Like, that's the part of van life that all of us connect with, is this independence of, fuck what you told me I had to do, fuck the way that I have to live, where I've got to do this college and this job and this career, and I've got to stay put and sacrifice my young years away in order to be successful in the long term, so that I can make enough money to pay for my kids' expensive ass child support. I'm sorry, but that's not what I'm here for. That's not what I was put on this planet for. And it's my choice to live this way. I don't ask anyone else to do it, but I love it when I see other people that make that same decision to be independent, to be able to do things the way they want to do it. And that is something that I respect in every van life or nomad in general.
I totally agree, and I also feel like it's a necessity. Like, I feel as if a lot of my friends back home in cities and stuff, like, they don't even know what it's like to make a decision on their own. Yeah. Like, for example, you stop at a red light because there's a red light. Yep. You go because there's a green go. Like, when are you out here in nature fully deciding when you're going to make dinner? Yeah. Where you want to go. And, like, something that Austin shared with me on the other podcast, which I thought was so beautiful, was, like, you choose your neighbors here. When you buy a house in the city, you ain't choosing your neighbors. And honestly, it's always a fucking hassle. In my experience, my friends that have, like, bought a house, there's something wrong with the neighbor. The neighbor's either complaining about how tall their grass is or something. Like, out here, like, and Santi and I talked about it as well, like, when you stop out here, you stop. So therefore, you got to be in charge of your life. Like, you are creating your life. Like, I'm choosing to be here right now. Yep. And I'm choosing to be here with you. Yep. And that's empowering. And I think that that's so important as an individual to grow and to know, like, to articulate what we really want. Because I find that so many people, actually, and especially women, we have a hard time articulating what we want. And that boils down to, like, during sexual experiences, where we're always trying to please others, or a family role, or a societal role. It's like, how can I basically show up for others in a very caring way, right? Because it's kind of something we've been marinated in, instead of showing up for ourselves. Whereas out here, like, that's one of the most beautiful things that I've been able to kind of tap into, is I am deciding where I want to go. And I'm not waiting around for somebody else or trying to please somebody else.
Or feeling like you can't be selfish. And I wanted to say that word specifically because I think it's valuable to be selfish. You should be selfish. There is no reason why we can't make decisions that we think are for the best of our own likelihood. And I think that that is something that too often gets kind of a negative connotation. And I'm really trying to bring selfish back into the positive connotation, because I think it's valuable to do the things you really want and not feel like you have to sacrifice for somebody else. And you're right, like, we're all out here making our own decisions, and we have the ability to leave if we want to and go to the next opportunity. So yeah, there's definitely an empowerment, like you are making every day an exciting new adventure, and you have that choice each opportunity. Instead of the Monday through Friday, and then what are you doing on the weekends?
Totally. Like, I'm not interested. I'm sorry.
It's crazy, though. I
This is
mean,
crazy.
I still talk to people about it, and they just, well, what are you doing next weekend? Well, what are you doing tomorrow?
Totally. Yeah.
You know, we're going hiking tomorrow.
Yeah. Speaking of women,
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, like, what has your experience been with, like, the way you are perceived as this, like, younger male living in a van? Like, do you find that women are attracted to that? And we can, like, I mean, this is a big conversation, so we can get, like,
sure.
as specific as we want. Or do you find that there's some hesitation or resistance towards it?
I really do feel it all depends on the woman, you know, like that, and like where you are. So therefore, what type of person you're talking to. But so let's talk first about the grid kid worlds, and I'll just premise this. I don't mean grid kid in a bad way, but if you live on a grid, you live connected to power, you're a grid kid. So if I'm talking to someone that's not in a van, not living in the van, I have to be a little bit more careful about how I present the lifestyle, because people are so quick to make their own impressions or their own stereotypes of who we are, what we do, that we're just a bunch of hippies, and we don't shower, and we grow our armpit hair out, and that's all we do for society. But you know, there's so much more there, and I think these kind of things, this podcast and all the stuff that we're doing, is helping tell that story. When it comes to the way, like, I've definitely gotten a lot of girls that are into the van life, totally. But I'm not interested in them unless they're also so interested that they built their own van. Because I'm not against the idea of someone coming with me for like a smaller trip or some adventure, but really what I am attracted to is someone that has the problem solving and the will to actually get it done, and to say, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out, and I know I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to freak out. Like, that is something that is extremely attractive to me. And so if I'm looking for a mate, I'm looking for someone that has that ability to roll through the punches, you know, like, get through the shit. I always, before I had the van, I would go camping with people, because it's like, when the shit hits the fan with camping, it's like, how do you handle it? And that's life. It's a metaphor for life. So, yes, I mean, I'm excited when girls are in the van. I'm very cautious, though, because really I'm looking for someone that's not just interested in the fact that it looks cool on Instagram, but is actually living it. Because it's totally different to take somebody that's not living it and say, come, you know, with me. And then, again, you can't be as selfish. You have to be more considerate. You have to accommodate. And I think that that's something I really like about having my own van, is that I can be accommodating if someone has their other van. But it's like, I like having, even though it's just such a small space, I still have that value that a lot of us have, even if you don't live in a van, that you want to have your space. You want to have your home to come back to, where you feel comfortable, and that doesn't change. You know, I don't need a huge 3,000 square foot house. Like, 64 square feet is plenty. But still having that and being able to make that choice to go back on my own, like, I like that a lot. So I mean, you asked a big question. It's got a lot of layers. So, I mean, there's definitely, I'm more interested in someone that's got their van and is out there doing it.
I like that, yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I find it interesting because, and I'm curious, when I actually don't know this answer, I feel as if more women are attracted to men in vans than men are attracted to women in vans.
Depends.
I'm curious what you think about that.
Yeah, so if it's a man that does not live in a van, looking at a woman that lives in a van, I don't think it's as attractive.
Yeah. Whereas for a woman who doesn't live in a van, looking at a man who lives in a van,
I could see that.
I think it's more.
I could see that.
And you know why? Because in my experience, all my girlfriends and stuff, a lot of my girlfriends aren't into this lifestyle, but I am, so they see who I hang out with and stuff. A man who lives in a van, automatically looks like this super adventurous, capable, kind of badass, sexy person. Whereas I feel like men, I think there's this like old paradigm of like security and a success that we were talking about at the beginning, which is like home and work and stuff, that I don't find maybe men are as attracted to women that are out here.
If the man's not a van lifer.
Exactly.
But when the man is a van lifer, the entire thing switches. Because I cannot tell you, like, and I've been in this situation, a female that has her own van, that built out her rig, it's extremely attractive. And for me, it's one of those things that I've found, because there's more guys that tend to be around, like, all the guys are like, oh, like, you know, into the one girl. And so, if anything, I've found that the van life guys are totally into the van life. Of course, obviously, you know, like, we get it, and we love that you get it enough to build your own van. Like, I did this, and I think that way, but you did it too, and you did it that way. You didn't, you know, just jump on with someone else. And so, for me, I respect that more. Yeah, I respect that more than and I'm attracted to that more. But if you're not in a van, I could see how a guy could make that. But then that's just a stupid generalization that comes from someone who doesn't understand.
That's right.
Like, that's all it is.
That's right. And that's like saying that like this van life is like some sort of elite crew, or that we're not human, or any of that bullshit. And that's why my whole tagline is, it's not the humans, or sorry, it's not the vans itself, it's the humans inside. Wow, this is interesting, because I also feel like I haven't been attracted, since I've been living in a van, like I haven't been attracted to people that don't live in vans. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, of course, because like we like-minded people, and we are a community. It's always been that way. Like, in our most primal state, you're obviously gonna fall in love or be sexually attracted to somebody else who's in your more intimate community out in.
Well, and also, we're both Virgos, so I think we tend to be a little bit more into that deeper connection. And there's, you know, to me, I need that deeper connection to be attracted. Like, a cute girl is a cute girl, but after a couple of times of hooking up with her, it's nothing, at least for me. And so I don't do that anymore, because to me, it's about having that person that really engages me intellectually, that challenges me. And for me to have all those things, normally that girl's living in a van. Like, it's pretty much gonna happen. So
dude, exactly. Like, no, I love this. This is so important. I almost feel like we should do like a whole separate podcast about this, because these are the little things that living in a van teaches you. Like, I knew nothing about vehicles before I got my van. Yeah. And I use this word that comes up a lot in my podcast, forced, in the most beautiful way. Okay. Like, I've been forced to learn. And I've spent a year and a half underneath, on it, in it. Like, from little things like changing my floors to wood, to like changing spark plugs, fuel filters, you name it. Yeah. I've been forced to. And so it's just like, it just almost comes with this lifestyle. It's such a rad way of like acquiring all these fucking awesome skills.
And it checks a lot of boxes, because it provides you opportunities to learn how to roll through the punches, to learn how to handle those things, to feel more empowered. Like, I can change a tire, I can change the flooring, I can change a junction box in an electrical unit, I can do all these things because I've done it. And that is so true in many different things. I mean, whether you like school or not, like, it kind of forces you to learn certain things. You're out on the road, you're forced to learn. Your problem solving, you're forced to learn. What I really want to point out that I think is so valuable, that gets you to that point, is the point before that. And the point before that is taking a jump into an unknown darkness without full understanding of how you're going to figure things out, and being okay with that unknown, because that is the strength and the confidence that will get you through anything in life. And that is what will get you to that stage, because if you have that confidence, you will go out, you will figure it out. And I am proof in the pudding. I didn't know a lot of things going into many different situations in my life, and I've always found success in just understanding that, hey, source people, learn and grow, ask questions, be willing to fail, understand that failure is an opportunity to grow, and build off of that. And that has been my outlook, pushing forward, and it's been really valuable for me.
Beautiful. So do you think that this whole persona of like the dumb girl or the like, can you help me change my tire? Like, do you think that is kind of, I would say, like, boiling out? Or is it still case dependent or, like, upon, like, I feel like, because there was a time where that's what at least the media and, they showed that that's what men are attracted to. Do you feel like that's kind of phased out now?
Again, I think that question depends on who you're asking. Because if you're asking a grid guy, then, yeah, he's going to be like, well, not all guys. I shouldn't say that.
No.
If you're asking a certain personality of guy, they want someone that needs them. I think it's more of
the whole control vibe.
It's more of like, yeah, you need me. Like, I provide something for you, even if it's just like, you want to be there for them and know that you care for them. But I think it gets beyond that, and so I worry a little bit about that because I feel like it can get to the point where you become reliant, or dependent. But
yeah,
if you ask a van life guy, I mean, there's nothing more sexy than a girl that can handle her own shit. Like, I don't want a girl that has to look for me to everything. I don't want a girl that when we walk into the room, she's going to be on my arm the whole time. I want to go like this. I want her to go like this. Yeah. I want us to work the room and meet back at the end.
Dude, I can't agree more.
Yeah, like that's the type. And so that person has to be confident in themselves.
Yes.
They have to know who they are and be comfortable. And I think that comes from having these kind of experiences, not necessarily that it has to come through van life, but pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, putting yourself out there, learning new things, challenging yourself on your fears. That is something that happens in van life, happens in camping, happens in other things because we get out there and we put ourselves in situations we're not used to.
Out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
And that you always grow out of your comfort zone.
Yes. And that's why travel, they say, is so valuable because it continues to teach you new perspectives and experiences. And so I don't think that the needy girl is not there's still a demand for that. I think somewhere in this world, not in our community, but it's definitely out there. But again, I think it's all perspective of who you're asking.
Yeah, nicely said. Okay, so I am curious. So I met you. Let's see here. I met you at the Be Hippie event.
Yes.
So when was that? Was it about 3 weeks ago?
I believe so, in Denver.
Which blows my mind because I feel like I've known you for so long. Like if we went from complete strangers to this in 3 weeks, then wow, that is living proof of what it is like out here when you are just living your best self and showing up.
Yep.
But I view you as like the first word that comes to me when I think of you is community and openness. That's the truth. Yeah. And that comes from a lot of things, like waking up every morning. Like you and I always seem to like be parked by each other.
Yep.
So waking up to you putting on your favorite song, which
Lovely
is
Day, Bill Weathers,
and having coffee for people, but also really being the like energy anchor in the room. Like you, I feel like. And I also see this in you because I know it in me. Like, you've got the energy, right? And, like, you bring the people together. You're always organizing the caravans, etc. So I really view you as two words, community and openness, as much as with more.
Yeah, thanks.
But I wanted to ask you, like, was that always a part of you? Or is this kind of this lifestyle that's helped stimulate this? Because I know this is you. This is you. Mm-hmm. But is this lifestyle that's helped bring that up? Or did you also have that when you were working 7 days a week and were overweight and all these things you were telling me about?
So I think that this experience, along with all the experiences I've had in life, have made me into the person that I am. And I can't quite point to one specific experience, although I do think that so many things have led to the outlook that I have now. I don't think that necessarily van life was that specific turning point, but it's definitely given me an opportunity to share who I truly am as a person and one of the nicest things is just to be appreciated for that. Like, you would be surprised how many people in my previous friend group that they just don't see and they don't feel and they don't understand that, you know, that focus on helping others and on being there. Sorry about that. On being there for people and learning and growing and being authentic and getting beyond the bullshit. Like, I just don't feel like I got that. And out here, I'm able to say, let's go. Like, let's drop in. And you know, certain people have personalities that tend to be a little bit more comfortable with people, and I guess I have to I have some of those traits because I've been fortunate enough to have people share some intimate parts of their lives and really connect and do this, sit down on the couch and just really talk. And that to me is why we're able to develop a friendship much faster, because what we would learn over maybe 2 or 3 hangouts on weekends every once in a while, we're able to do in 2 days out here together. And so I think that it is more authentic because, and when you say honesty, it's like I just think authenticity because that's what I'm all about. I'm totally all about authenticity. And I don't care if you feel bad about something or if you don't like something, as long as you're real with me about how you feel and why you feel that way, I will understand you much better as a person. I will respect you much better as an individual, and we'll have a better friendship. And authenticity has always been something that I valued. And then to hear you say community, I mean, that's 100% what it's all about. I mean, I love it. I love seeing you guys jump up at the gathering a couple of days ago and dance with me as I sang Bill Weathers with the band. Like, it was just that. Those are the kind of things that I truly feel that love and that appreciation for you know, my contribution to the community. And so to me, in van life, I felt it more than ever, but I haven't, I've always had that desire to connect. When I was in high school, I would help put together the spring breaks that we would host, and I would make videos, actually, highlight videos of our weekends together. And I was president of my fraternity in IFC in college, and so I got a lot of opportunity.
You were in a frat?
I was in a frat.
Of course you
Come
were.
on. You couldn't tell? Frat brought Matt?
My God, you totally were.
I brought a fraternity back on campus, and then we ended up getting Fraternity of the Year my senior year, and I was pumped. It was a great experience. It really was. Now, I could argue the benefits to fraternity life and the cons.
No, totally.
To someone and really enjoy it. But that experience was amazing, and I got an opportunity to lead a group of 100 people that was run like a business, and I learned a lot about leadership and how being a leader is really not about what I thought it was. You know, like, trying to lead is not trying to tell people what to do and how to do it. Leading is not only leading by example, but leading is helping grow ideas within other people and helping them get to the point where they're so amped and excited about something that they are driving in that direction, and you're just helping put more logs on that fire. That to me is what leadership is. And so I learned a lot of that in college, and that helped me moving forward. And then I went into the corporate world and really was a bitch for a while. You know, I was on the bottom of the totem pole. I was kind of just doing whatever I was told. But it was a great opportunity for me to see different types of people, see different personalities, see how different people choose to deal with what life throws at them. You know, that's something I learned really big, is it's not about what happens to you in life, but how you choose to deal with it that makes you the person that you are. And I 100% believe in that. No matter what happens to you in life, everyone has tough experiences, and I have empathy for them, but I don't have sympathy. And I don't sit there and say, woe is me, or all this has happened. It's not about that. Your opportunity is that inflection point of, how do I want to deal with this? And that is something that, for me, it's such a powerful opportunity. I lost my mother 5 years ago, and I bring it up because it was a great opportunity for me to show my close friends and family that it's not about what happens. Even if it's something as serious and as tragic as what happened with my mother. We wore Hawaiian bright t-shirts to her funeral. I gave a speech about how grateful I was to have had the experience with my mom that I did, to have the upbringing of love and to be shown love and caring. So many people in this world don't get that opportunity. Their parents get divorced early, and so why would I want to sit here and mope about what happened to me when I could find reasons to say, wow, I have something that other people don't have. And all that is choosing to change my perspective. And that was when I was like, okay, if I can do this for my mom, I can do this for anybody, and anyone can do this for anything. And so I say perspective is everything a ton, and I truly believe that. Obviously, emotions are real, and you have to let those emotions out. And I am not saying by any means that you shouldn't cry, that you shouldn't have hard times, that you shouldn't be down. I hurt a lot. I still hurt when I think about my mom. But that doesn't mean that I don't understand that that's a part of life, and that I helped inspire other people by the way that I responded to it. And I had people come to me shocked and blown away by that experience. And so that just showed me that, again, it's not about what happens, but how we choose to deal with it. And if we take that into every experience in our life moving forward, we can find gratitude in everything. And that's such a valuable thing. That's why I love meditation.
Yeah.
You know, every morning I start with just 10 minutes because it helps ground me in that gratitude for that freaking mountain right there. That's what I was grateful for this morning. And for the fact that my 2 legs both work, that when I woke up this morning, my eyes both worked. It's a miracle that I can see, that I can hear, and yet we forget. We're so quick to say, well, I got stuck in traffic, or I got the... You're choosing to focus on the wrong things. And that is what van life is really also helping a ton of us with, is that it's helping surround us with such amazing nature and such amazing people that it's refocusing what life is truly about and what we should be focused on. And I fucking love it.
God damn, like, you are just speaking my language. Like, I got shivers on my back. It feels fucking good.
Yes.
And just to add one last little chip to that is, and I guess this is not your experience, but for the whole Volkswagen crew, I can speak. We break down constantly.
Yep, it's experience.
But let me tell you about gratitude and learning and working through whatever's thrown towards us. Like, that's one of the biggest lessons this van has taught me.
Yeah.
Like, I love it for a ton of reasons, but I also love it because it continuously seems to humble me and teach me something profound. Like, just semi-recently when I broke down in Yellowstone National Park, couldn't get towed out there, everybody left. I was completely alone. I thought it was the worst thing in the world. And I ended up just, like, long story short, sitting by myself and realizing, like, okay, is this really the worst thing ever?
Yeah.
Sure enough,
in Yellowstone.
ended up being one of the most beautiful experiences of my trip so far. The people I met, the absolute love that was offered to me, the people that sat with me on the side of the freaking road. Scott, huge throw out to you. I don't know if you know Scott, Beast and Beyond. You probably met him at.
But I want to meet you, Scott. You sound like an awesome guy.
Sat with me hours.
Oh, wow.
Not only that, he called me, didn't know me from a hole in the wall. Called me because I made an Instagram post. He reached out. He happened to be living and working at the area I was, like Old Faithful. Was on his way back. He drove all the way back and drove 2 extra hours just to pick me up spark plugs. Never even ended up using them, buddy. Then waited about 6 hours when he worked the next day with me on the side of the road with our hazard lights on while we were waiting for a tow truck. Sat there, held space. Brought snacks, watched Family Guy because we can stream here in America. It's so rad. Like, and I would never have met him if I didn't break down. So just like those sort of things, you know, like
it's true.
It's these things that, you know, I was sitting there feeling bad for myself. All my friends left. I'm missing out on everything, and then just ended up being like, God damn, I got a chance to work my van, learn all these new things,
and
like,
that,
and it goes on and on, you know.
Perspective, right? Like that is it. And it's nice to teach you that lesson or to teach yourself that lesson in the van, because when things change in the van, it's a lot easier to pivot, in my opinion, because I've got my home here. I'm already home. I don't have to go across town when my meeting ends up getting changed and I'm already there waiting for the person because I'm in my van. So I just pull my laptop open and work from there until traffic goes down, and then I get on the interstate. I run my life the way I want to do it. Even when I put gasoline in my diesel engine on accident at 2 a.m. in the morning at a BP gas station. And this is my problem with BP. Diesel is green in BP. Diesel's not green in DP. Diesel is green in every gas station other than BP. BP.
What color is it?
It's not green. It's black, and all the other ones are green. So I put premium or something in my van, and it's 2 a.m. I had just driven 3 days from Denver to Orlando to go work a job, and I was tired. I was getting ready to go to bed. I'm at the gas station. I'm like, oh shit. I luckily didn't drive off, so I didn't ruin anything. But it's a perfect example of make it work. Call AAA. I'm sitting at the BP gas station in the gas area. Go talk to the guy in the BP. Let him know what's up, so he knows that's why I'm sitting there forever. And then go back out. Call AAA. They say it's gonna be a couple hours. I'm like, okay. Turn the TV on, make some dinner, and I have a nice meal, relax, have a drink, go to sleep, wake up to my phone ring. The AAA guy's there. He tows my vehicle, tows me to the closest mechanic. He leaves me there. Well, obviously they're not open, so I sleep, wake up at 8 a.m, go into the mechanic's shop, have him take the gas out, and I'm good to go. It's just like, it doesn't have to be this woe is me mentality. Like, you always can make it work. And even if the van was, too hot to even live in, you go make friends, like you said. You go meet someone randomly that you haven't ever met before that's just a total stranger, and you end up connecting with them. And my buddy Daniel, shout out to him, I met in Corsica, on an island in Corsica, because the Airbnb woman that I was staying with got too drunk and drove off in her scooter and left me.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, left me by myself. All my stuff is at her house after I bought her dinner. And my buddy Daniel, who I just met, first time he sees her leave, and he's like, hey, here's my number. If you need a place to crash, you can crash on our hotel floor. Really just complete stranger. And we still talk to this day every month on a video chat.
Wow.
And he's one of the coolest guys. He's doing a world tour right now, actually. And so I love what you said about that experience, and I wanted to share my experience with Daniel, because I think that is one of those things in life you can't predict, and you can't script. It's like, that is how life is supposed to happen. It's not supposed to be predictable. It's not supposed to be, I know what's going to happen and I do it all exactly as I'm told. Life is supposed to have its ups and downs. Life is supposed to have its shitty circumstances that turn into these amazing stories that you later enjoy and laugh about. And if you can find that ability to laugh about it in the moment, you're going to be a lot happier. And that is something that I am proud of myself, is that over time, and just like with anything, to answer your original question, over time I've learned to just kind of critique things and change a little bit about how I choose to deal with things, or how I come off, and my tone. And there's just different ways of dealing with it. And over time I've really gained that understanding that, hey, you kill people with kindness. You break down that wall of, oh, well, she didn't say anything to me at first, or something happened here. Fuck all that. Go right to that person, give them a big hug, say hi. That's something that I think I do really well, and because of that, it tends to open people up. And I want to say it because I want more people to realize, if you take that extra effort, my mom was so good at this. If you make that extra effort, not just the first time, but the second, the third, and the fourth. It doesn't matter if someone doesn't call you back. It doesn't matter if they don't give you the extra time. There's not a scorecard. There's not this okay, tally our friendship up. No, fuck that. It's not caring and not giving a shit and always reaching out. My mom always reached out to people, always made the extra effort, and I do that on purpose. And I get such a great response from people that are like, you know what, you've never given up on me, you've never stopped caring, and it matters so much to people, and it matters to me. And those are the kind of traits that I get the opportunity to bring up my mom, and I get the opportunity to say, this is the reason why she was so special to me and why I am who I am. So, I give a little bit to her and how I was brought up. I get a little bit to the experiences in life that I've had, and I give a little bit up to van life. But it's all been a part of it.
Wow, and I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing about your mom with me.
Yeah.
Because I see that in you, and I wasn't exactly sure where that came from. And just to give you an example, because you don't know this, but first example is like how every morning you have coffee for everybody.
Yeah.
You are stoked to be able to provide that. You're not thinking, okay, somebody's better provide me with coffee the next morning.
Yep.
You genuinely, and actually it's so beautiful, you genuinely are there to share that. And you're not expecting anything in return.
Nothing.
And that is rare. Most people always just expect something in return. And the second thing I want to say, so beautiful, is when we were driving in to the Van Life Diaries meetup in Basalt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure, and I'd be curious if you picked up on this. I was anxious as hell because I felt as if I didn't know where to park, and there was this big, huge, energetic thing where nobody knew where to park, and I was like really being protective over the people I love so dearly, and I wanted them close to me.
Yep.
And I was basically a damsel in distress. I was like so distraught. I was like, I need to be by my people. Like, not that other people are my people. That's just what I needed at that time. Yeah. And you just simply, like, you were busy doing your thing, yet we had made you looked at me and we made a quick dialogue, and you said something along the lines of, don't stress. We're going to get this figured out. You're like, just park right behind me. Mm-hmm. Don't worry, honey. Mm-hmm. Like, it's going to be awesome. We'll make a beautiful circle. Yep. And it wasn't even so much about what you said. It was like, you had fully held the space for me. And I was quite distraught. I haven't been like that in a long time. And that your sincerity and the way you just like held that space for me meant so much. I just like pulled up behind you, shut off my vehicle, and was just like, okay, like I'm held and I'm at home.
That's awesome. And
that is along with that, like, of who you are and show up in your authenticity. Like, that's so you. And I'm so drawn to that and felt so comfortable even in a moment of distress.
Thank you. And,
like, that's really important to share. Yeah. That's true.
No, I really appreciate that. And I think that it's almost like it's not necessarily what you say, but how you say it. And it's that tone, it's that understanding that I try to convey when I talk to someone. And I saw how you felt, and then I was glad I was able to peek into that and see it. But to provide that for somebody and to see them react like you did that's something that I haven't had a lot of experience with previous friendships and relationships, is I haven't had that ability to really be there in deeper situations. It's not, I don't know, I feel like it's not prevalent as much, and people are more like, I'm doing my thing, I'm gonna be okay. People are more independent, I feel like, in that regard, and a lot of us are more like, hey, like, we all learn together, like, it's the community, like you said, you were raised by the tribe, like by your community.
But also, like, you said that beautiful quote today, which I've never heard and never forget. You said something, and maybe you could repeat it, but like the ship's rising.
Oh yeah, as the tide rises, or as the tide.
What?
Oh, as the tide rises, so do all ships, or as the tide rises, so do all ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt. Like, that's so true. Like, that is community, and that's why
we all come up together.
And that's why the first word that comes to my mind for you is community, because, like, you just supported me totally. And I, like, if I'm all anxious and you're gonna be anxious, everybody else can be anxious, and like, you just like dived in there and like totally eliminated that, and then there we were. We had the most beautiful weekend.
Yeah. No, so cool. And again, it's like, as much as someone has an ability, it's like being given that opportunity to share that, and then being appreciated for that is a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level. And let's get away from me. Let's talk about some of our friends who are sharing their creative side that have never shared before and are realizing that they have so much potential, and like all this is happening from, us pushing them and saying, well, why don't you go do this or what? I love that. I think that is so valuable, and it's almost like we are more, because we're confident enough, we're able to say, hey, like, let me help you with this, or I want to, go in this direction with you. Before, I feel like it was more, I want to be your friend and I want you to like me, but I don't want to develop you, or I don't want to get into your nitty gritty, or you don't want me to.
Or
right?
I don't have the time.
Or, yeah, I don't have the time.
I don't have the space and the time because I'm busy.
Yeah, and then all that is someone saying that I don't make it a priority.
That's right.
Right.
And just speaking of what you said, like, I just recently, Josh just shared with me, Josh and Misha, who did the podcast with before, and other people from the community know him. He, for the first time, at the Van Life Diaries meeting, for the first time in his life, got up on stage and shared.
Yes.
First time, okay?
I did not know this was
dude
first
is
time.
an amazing musician. First time ever. So I asked him today in my van, we were just on this holy space for him, and I was like, what allowed you to be able to share that for the first time ever after playing music for years? And he said, this community.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's a funny jokester, right? And he was just like, I knew I wasn't going to get boot off stage.
Yeah.
So I felt comfortable enough to do it.
I wasn't afraid.
Now, ever since that, he's going home and it's going to be performing it. He's got the confidence because he was supported enough.
And he had that experience.
Now he's fully going to embody that and like keep going back to Australia and Byron Bay. He's like, I'm going to dip in and I'm going to like busk with people and I'm going to show up.
That's so cool.
And so that's exactly like you say.
And you think that it comes from that confidence from having the experience? I feel like it's almost, once you have the experience and you get the feedback and you feel, you're like, oh, I can do this. It's just like, if you've ever done, but let's just break it down to something simple like 100 push-ups. Well, I can't do 100 push-ups straight, but if I've done it before and then I go to do it again, I can do this. I know I can do it. I've done it. And it's like that drive. Once you know that you're a good singer or you're a good dancer or whatever, once you've made that agreement, we talk about agreements that we make. Well, there's an 8-year-old girl whose mother yelled at her, and this is a quote from the 4 Agreements, but whose mother yelled at her when she was younger because her mom was stressed out about a lot of stuff going on in her head that had nothing to do with it, but yelled at her daughter saying that she had a horrible voice, and because of that interaction, her daughter then continued the rest of her life thinking that she wasn't adequate when it came to her singing skills. And that is an agreement that so many of us make in our lives, that we're not this or we're not that. I'm not good at grammar. I've been telling people that my whole life. And it doesn't mean that I'm not good. It just means that I don't make it a priority.
That's right.
And I think that that's a big difference. And so it's a learning lesson for me. It's definitely like I continue to teach myself that.
Well, it's huge. I have a life coach back home, and we meet online or FaceTime, and
cool.
What we talk about that is as core beliefs. Those are core beliefs that we've either adopted, we have been marinated in, or we've picked up from other people. And a perfect example, people have probably heard this before, but I was told that I was not smart when I was younger. I broke the record for the most in-school suspensions in middle school, which I'm sure something you can relate with. I nearly failed. I just passed every class. Just. And then I went to university after doing all this work. I'm now was a straight A student. I just recently graduated with distinction. For fucking years, I told myself, I'm not smart, I'm not intelligent, I'm top of my class. Graduate distinction. So like that's just to show that like we all have these core beliefs inside and these agreements that we've made with ourselves, and the power of like working through that, like just like knowing I'm capable. Like my poem I read out in front of everybody, right? That's like, of course those are like, I'm not worthy, I'm not capable. Those are agreements that I've made somewhere along the line. But the difference is I'm fully committed to working through those. I'm not playing a victim story. I'm fully committed to showing up in the ring and working through those. Good. And that's just like going full circle to what you're saying. I love it.
Yeah. And I think that the willingness to understand that we're not all perfect, like none of us, we all fail. We all have a hard time. it shocks people because I am a very personable guy, and I do come across as I can talk to anybody, but I get nervous. Like, I freak out about things still. I don't know how to interact sometimes, or am worried about, a confrontation. We all have these things. Even someone who can come off as super confident has that same inert, like, I want to connect, I want to relate with you, like, there's all these desires. We all want that connection. And so I just think that the more we understand each other, the more we realize we're all figuring this out, and we're all in this world together. We're all have this inert desire to love and connect, and that is bridges all language, all culture, all race. It doesn't matter. It's about that craving to connect. And if you can break through someone's wall and get them to be real with you, then that is when you truly understand who someone is, can help them grow as a person, and also can learn a little bit about yourself.
Do you feel like I sometimes struggle, or do you feel, like I sometimes struggle to connect with others, or?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel that looking from the outside, you don't tend to have that problem, but again, people tell me that, and
Exactly.
so I would say that I would be ignorant to think, oh yeah, of course,
And that's my entire poem, like me getting up on stage and saying all that was, like, I start off by saying, like, I know that most people think I'm this super confident, like, and I end up breaking it down, just being like, actually, no, I'm human. I deal with all this negative ego, this voice, and I just love to hear you say that. It's so important. Like, right now, it's so beautiful for you to be vulnerable with me. And also, I'm going all over the place here, but I just wanted to mention as well, after Melissa's breath workshop that we both did, it blew me away how the masculine energy was so willing to be so vulnerable. And this is how I feel with you right now. Like, this is not often a conversation that a lot of men have.
Okay.
And it's just so beautiful to hear.
And we need, as guys, to have more discussions together, and honestly, online, so that we can have a more open, formal process of saying, you know what, a lot of what we were told was acceptable or was not acceptable is not necessarily true, and that guys have as much of emotions as girls do, and that we deal with a lot of the same things, and we need to be willing to be okay with that, and be open with that, and understand that we can go through these things together and be much better off than secluding ourselves and thinking we're the only ones that struggle with something, and we're, woe is me.
Not only that,
mentality.
it's sexy as fuck. Like, I am so stoked to say that. A man who's vulnerable and willing and open is sexy.
Yeah.
Like, men's work is sexy. And, like, that's the word I think we need to start using to help change this whole, like...
Men's work?
Yeah.
I like that. I like that term.
Men's work is sexy.
Yeah.
And, like, I think that's where we can start using to change the dynamic, the way we've, like, viewed men, and the way men, like, that have shared with me, they struggle to show up as their best selves because there's this, idea that they've been grown up in that they're not allowed. And I think it's changing language and saying it is sexy as hell. Like, that is the kind of man I'm attracted to.
Yeah. And I think it goes along with confidence, because... for me, I'm very comfortable in who I am.
I do the same thing.
Yeah. I'm very comfortable in who I am, and so I tend to relay that that comfort and that willingness to be open, and, like, that willingness to not know something. Like, you don't have to know every word someone says. Like, I'm very willing to be like, wait, what's that? Or catch someone that's like, you know that? And I'm like, no, I don't know that. Like, would you fill me in? A lot of people don't want to. They want it to be like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like, oh, of course I'm in on it. Like, no, like, if I don't know it, be okay with saying you don't know it, because that's how you learn. But we're so quick to be like, best foot forward. And this was something I learned. I used to totally be best foot forward all the time. Got me in a lot of trouble because people resented me. They were like, you're always fucking getting everything right. I want to see you fail. Like, being willing to be vulnerable and to show my failures and to be open about that has really helped me as a person. And it's helped more people relate to me instead of create a negative impression. And that was something I dealt with when I was younger. For sure, in high school and in college, I always wanted to put my best foot forward. I always wanted to be, as good as I could ever be. And that really hurt me with friendships because it was the opposite. It was like, Matt's always, Matt's the best. Matt thinks he's the best. Yeah, thank you. My mom would always do that. And so I just think that there's a lot there that you could work on, and I am always trying to get better.
And speaking of this whole men talking about it more, I am committed to having a podcast where I interview, like I said, like 3 of you, and I want to facilitate a really vulnerable, raw conversation about just all of this. So
yeah, I think that would be cool, and it'd be cool to have a couple other guys to just chat with about it.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's different perspectives, and we're all coming from different places. I can only give one side of it, but yeah, it's needed. I think it's necessary. I don't know if it's if people are seeing it, but I think that we've got the right people too.
Exactly, we do.
I was gonna say we've got some good bros to bring on. So coming soon.
Yes, coming soon. So just to wrap up here, do you see yourself living this lifestyle for a lot longer?
I do.
Okay.
And originally I'd said, okay, I'm going to do this for 2 years and let's just see
Time's up.
Yeah, right. Let's just see where it's at. And 2 years in, I can confidently say that I've found a lifestyle and a way of living that I really connect with, in addition to a community of people that I love. And so this is now bringing both. When I left Florida, I was worried I would lose that community. Not worried, but just unsure, I think is the word. But having known and having had that travel experience backpacking, I was like, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to figure this out. And sure enough, you walk into a whole community of people that are also living passionate lives. You're not going to meet that guy that's a badass, passionate person at your local library around the corner. You're going to meet him at Horseshoe Bend or at Yellowstone National Park or, at some epic hang gliding spot. You're going to meet him doing something rad, or at least I do. I meet the people that I'm really into, and whatever you're into. Say you like to read books at the library and that's where you want to meet your friends. Cool. But it's all about doing what you want to do and not feeling like you have to sacrifice in order to pay for the bills and get out of this shitty debt that you've put yourself in. I just think that life is too short. Time is the most valuable thing we have. And if you're not happy with what you're doing, change it. Change it now and understand that you don't have to understand how it's all going to work out, but you will figure it out, and you will be so much more fulfilled with what you've done and the decisions you've made.
Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm really glad we got the time to sit down and create this. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I've really enjoyed it, and I look forward to more.
Yes. And everybody come back Thursday for another rad podcast on Humans of Van Life.
Until next time, enjoy the journey, y'all.